Hello there, I'm Lloyd Evans and you're watching the John Cedars channel from the bunker, and it's time for another voicemail. This one is from Annie. Let's hear what Annie has to say.
Hi Lloyd, my name's Annie. I just wanted to I'll share my story and then sort of ask my question, I suppose. So I was disfellowshipped over 5 years ago after getting married 3 months after my 18th birthday to someone that I had had a teenage relationship with. And it became quite apparent not too long after we got married that we were not well suited to each other. Obviously, we had never lived together. And about 6 months into our marriage, my husband sort of faded, although I don't necessarily think he knew that term. I don't think it was purposeful. But he slowly stopped attending meetings, and I became the object of pity in the congregation, the young wife who was being left to fend for herself spiritually. And not too long after that, I started an online relationship with a non-witness. Now, I had always had doubts, in no small part because I am bisexual, and I knew that from the start of puberty, basically. And I was never able to reconcile that, obviously, with the beliefs that I was raised with. And despite that, I did get baptised at 15 because I thought that would solve the problem. I thought that if I got baptised, all of my doubts would go away, and everything would be fine, and that just didn't happen. So about a year after I got married, I told my husband that I would be leaving, that I wasn't happy, and I told my family I would be leaving. I moved away. The online relationship that I'd started, the person did not live nearby, so I moved to a whole different town. And after I had moved, my husband, just to be clear, we separated, and I had made it clear that we were not going to get back together. But he hacked into my Facebook account and found messages with my boyfriend, chose to publish them on social media, which was obviously embarrassing. But also, despite having not been to a meeting outside the memorial in several months, told the elders about it. And because we were not legally divorced or spiritually divorced at that point, I was disfellowshipped. And so, as a consequence of that, I have not spoken to my family in over 5 years. Well, that makes it sound like it's my choice, actually. It's more that they haven't spoken to me because I do love my family and I miss them. And because he faded, he, to my knowledge, still has a relatively good relationship with his family. They still talk to him, they still see him. And I struggle not to feel bitter about the situation. I struggle not to feel angry, not just at him, because I do obviously consider him to be somewhat a victim of the religion as well, but in a different way, but more at the rules, and at the religion itself. And I was just curious if you had any advice for ex-JWs and in how they come to terms with that. I have been to therapy. I do meditate. I do yoga. So I've tried sort of the conventional things, but I think so often our situation as ex-Jehovah's Witnesses is so unique in a modern day society that the resources aren't always readily available to everybody. So I was just curious as to what you thought and how you coped with your own situation when you left, and if you had any advice. Thanks.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for that message, Annie. And I'm sure many people listening will be able to relate to your experience and will indeed find it cathartic that you've been able to so clearly and eloquently describe what happened. That's a really sucky situation to be in, isn't it? And I'm going to struggle to not repeat what I said in response to a similar voicemail where the question was asked, how do I get over my hatred for the organisation? And I responded by saying, well, the thing you need to remember is that there's no point getting overly angry or overly worked up about situations that are beyond your control. Anger is inevitable when someone is exploited and taken advantage of, and it sounds like you were really taken advantage of if you got into a marriage so young, and so many of the problems you're now experiencing are due to the fact that in a way your teen years were taken away from you, your youth was taken away from you, and you were pushed down this road at an age where you couldn't fully understand what was happening. So it's understandable, it's right. It would be weird if you didn't feel anger, having been treated in this way. The question is, what do you do with that anger? Are you going to let it stew within you? Are you going to let it spill over into some sort of vindictive course, or are you going to try and channel it in a productive way? In my own case, obviously, my experience is nothing like yours, but I do nevertheless feel anger. I have what I call a fire in my belly, and I try to channel it in productive ways through my activism. Not everyone's cut out for activism. I don't expect everyone to be an activist who's an ex-Jehovah's Witness, but it's certainly something that you might consider. It's just trying to raise awareness of the pitfalls of the organisation and the way it does hijack people's youth. As regards your ex, I can't help but think that the way he treated you was extremely shitty. I try not to swear on this channel, but there's no other word for it that readily springs to mind. I mean, he basically threw you under the bus so that he could have a relationship with his parents. That's what it sounds like, at least. So I don't blame you for feeling resentment towards him, but even there, I suppose there is a way forward in terms of realizing that you're doing the best you can, or have done the best you can, with an extremely crummy set of cards, with an extremely bad situation. What more can you possibly do? I suppose you're already doing what you need to be doing in terms of seeking therapy. You mentioned there as well yoga and meditation. What you don't want is a situation where the feelings consume you and control you, and you're no longer able to balance your emotions. So if you're seeking therapy already, you're doing everything that you can. It doesn't mean that things are going to be perfect. It doesn't mean that you can have everything back the way it was or the way you need it to be. It just means that you have the tools you need. Hopefully, if you've had some good therapy, it should give you the tools you need to manage those feelings so that they don't overwhelm you. If, despite having that help, you're still feeling like you're struggling, I suppose make sure you're getting the support from fellow ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. Try and build up a support network around you of people who understand your experience and who can empathize. It's never good to be dealing with this by yourself. So if you're not already on, for example, the XJW subreddit, or if you don't already have a network on Facebook or on Twitter of fellow ex-Jehovah's Witnesses who understand your struggle, or even maybe some ex-Jehovah's Witnesses in your community, definitely pursue that option. But yeah, as long as you've done everything that you can, try not to beat yourself up over what ifs. What if I'd done it this way? What if I'd done it that way? you were effectively a child, weren't you? 18 or 19 is no age at all to be faced with the sort of things that you were put through, especially when it's a Jehovah's Witness upbringing where your development is limited and you are trained to think that everything on the outside is Satan's world and your perception of reality itself is so warped. Definitely don't blame yourself too much for what happened. I think if you can eliminate the what ifs, you have a way forward, and especially if you can try to channel some of that justifiable anger that you have in productive ways, and enhance your social network so that you have a family, you have a tribe who understands your experience and can help you move forward in productive ways. I suppose that's all I can really recommend. But well done for seeking therapy. That's definitely the way forward for people who've been through the experience that you've been through. And thank you so much for sharing this message. Again, I'm sure there will be many who listen to it who will relate with your experience. So thank you so much, Annie. I really appreciate that. If you would like to follow in Annie's footsteps by leaving your own voicemail, the way to do it is to go on speakpipe.com/Cedars. If you just want to leave a voicemail without it being played, do remember to specify clearly that you don't want your voicemail to be played, and I will, of course, respect your wishes. But that's all I have for you. Don't forget to subscribe to the John Cedars channel for more such videos. And as always, thank you for watching.